was just an attack event, like defending.
I think it's like.
People, I'm back again. Now, I obviously hope, as much as it is, you lot have done your screaming, shouting, whatever, and you've accepted the scoreline above me. Brighton 3, Arsenal 0. Congratulations, Brighton. Did everything I wish my club did. Great team, performing well. Potential is endless, especially if they can now start to hold on to some players. De Zerbi, is it Mr. Tony Bloom or whatever your name is? You lot were at the game. Let's talk about Caicedo, innit? Bring him to my club, innit? Talk, we'll give you your money, whatever you want. I think this game, and really and truly, if you've been watching Arsenal all season, and actually the errors and problems have been there in games we've won, which I've been called, not that I know anything, but me as a football fan, I watch my club. I watch every game twice. I love my football club. You can see me chatting nonsense on YouTube about Arsenal all the time. There's about 8,000 videos on my YouTube channel. The bulk of them are about Arsenal. And I've said, honestly, if you're surprised about the game, that's cool. But if you're surprised at the manner in which them 3 goals were scored, the timing of those 3 goals, 4 or 5 minutes into the second half, 2 in the dying embers of the game, 86th minute, and then 90 minutes plus the added 6 or 8, I don't think you can be surprised because they've been there. The Man United game, Aston Villa away, Bournemouth at home, you know, games where it's been one-sided traffic, Brighton away earlier on this season, Leicester at home, Leeds at home, I'll think of another one, Crystal Palace at home. Until this club, there's some harsh truths we need to accept, people. Until this club loves defending, in the same way you mentioned Arsenal, you waffle about, and I know fans are very reactionary. 1 minute they're the best players in the world, then they're the worst in the world. But until when you think of Arsenal, in addition to the great attacking plays, what we're doing, the moves, all of these things, until we mention, Arsenal, great defensive side, clean sheets, game management spot on. We're not going to go to where these players want to win and everything. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't support the players. I support the club. I love the players, but it's conditional love. You play for Arsenal. You manage the club. I don't like you lot past that. Big up you lot, good human beings, etc. So I will be here. But for these players and the gaffer, football career is a long time. But they're going to blink, and they probably remember their first days in this shift or this job and the last. This is why you're not going to win major honours. Game management. You know, game management is appalling at this football club. And yes, it's part of it is because the manager's young, the players are young, but you're old enough to learn. And that goes out the window because the young ones have played enough. The experienced players have played enough. There's some harsh truths that the club has to accept. Physically, you know, football's decided in both boxes. We weren't clinical enough, and I think we need a more physical number 9. I'm never going to stop this agenda. Jesus was one of the better players, in my opinion, and should have went to the right, in my opinion. Saka come off, go Eddie up front. And I understand going long, we're trying to be street smart, but realistically, Lewis Dunk, about 7-8 foot exaggeration. Jesus, about 5'8". Out of the 200 rules that they're going to contest, bro, my man's going to win about 2-3. It don't make no sense. So we're not playing to our strengths. We're too emotional in that, you know, throughout the season, we've shown that. Football's decided in both boxes. We ain't been clinical enough. We don't defend and love defending enough. And beyond the obvious, as I said in the last video, Jesus is up there, Eddie's there, but Eddie is closer to Jesus than Rob Holding to Saliba. But let's not behave like if Saliba wasn't fit, these same things wouldn't happen. Obviously, we'd look a bit better. But we are a terrible defensive side. We're an improved defensive side. We're not a good one. Until we can manage a game well, take the sting out of games, defend on the front foot and the back foot better, be better on the transitions, you know, marking. Because we can see the same sort of goals. Man are not following runners. We're not clearing our lines. People are ball watching. People are letting runners run off them. We're too feeble on the counter. Good teams from the moment, is it NCO? Great player. Should have had a brace today. His chance where he's missed from 5 yards, where Mitoma's done Benjamin White numerous times today, where he's done him dirty, that is when good defensive teams wake up. And a lot of it is down to the gaffer, and a lot of it these players have to learn themselves. You know, we can't impose ourselves, unless it's this football thing, we can't impose ourselves physically in midfield. I love Granit. I think Jorginho and him and Partey in their own ways. I don't disagree with the lineup that went out there. I think you need both of them in the squad. I wouldn't sell either unless they want to keep it moving. But we need people that are a bit more physically, imposing in the game. We need to be a lot more street smart, and that goes from the goalie all the way to the striker, everybody. Ramsdale was one of our better players. No clue what you're doing for that save you made. But even that, why is the left back of Brighton reacting more than my defenders? Because we don't crave that level of defending. Yes, Saliba being fit, it could have done stuff. To go back to the point I almost forgot. But the reason that, Brighton never had Webster, and they've had injuries. Teams have had injuries and things like that. We can't cope with key players not being there because we're not a good defensive side, because we don't crave the art of defending, and there's no way around it. Until we improve defensively, we're not in all aspects. Some of that could be down to personnel, some of that can be on the training ground, which a big part as to why we're second on top of new additions is because of the training ground. Until we can improve defensively and improve a tenfold, you can forget about anything. And for Arteta, the players, you bottled it. Forget the league and all that jazz. You bottled today. Games like Brighton, like Newcastle, like the historical top six, they're a good test to see where you really are. With respect to the other teams, sometimes you don't have to be at your best and win. Brighton, fantastic team. Out of the neutrals, us, Newcastle, Brighton, for neutral football fans, three of the most enjoyable teams to watch. But they're a lot better defensively than us. They're a lot more street smart. I never saw players that wanted to be competitive today. I never saw players that wanted to acquit themselves against one of the best performing teams. I never saw a team that wanted to react to losing to these lot in the league and losing last year at the Emirates, which some of you were there. Now you've lost again. I never saw these things. For the gaffer, I love Arteta. I don't think he should leave, but there's evident question marks. I think sometimes he does this thing where it's like he's out of ideas, and you know what? He goes, Smith Rowe, you ain't been, and I thought Smith Rowe should have come on. Smith Rowe, you ain't been involved. Dash him on. And I think the last two goals are on him as much as the players, because it's a bit like United in September where we've messed around with our midfield and we're a bit too open. And I think Arteta's game management, his crisis management, even down to sometimes it's how you lose, you know. At 2-0, we should have said, all right, it's not our day. Don't let the third go in. Instead, it's past the pad settings. Brighton have reacted from a 5-1 shock result against Everton. They've got a big 3 points for their European push. Probably going to be in the Europa League. They're not out of a top 4 race. You know, if they win their games and things happen for them. You know, they reacted well. They fought. We probably showed them a bit too much respect, in my opinion. You have to respect a team like Brighton, but a bit too much respect. A large part of the first half, every player apart from Steele in goal, Steele, who didn't have to really make a save today, let's be real, it was all about his ball playing abilities. Didn't have to make a save, you know, really. Didn't have to make a save once again. It's mad. You know, every player of Brighton apart from him is in our half. Every Arsenal player is in our half. We're kicking it long. We don't know how we're playing. Yes, we miss Zinchenko in terms of the build-up play, but I'm sorry, injuries happen. And there's no way I don't care if Saliba, Zinchenko, any of these guys are not there. There's no way that you can justify losing 3-0 because you're missing your left back. What's this? So when certain men throughout this whole season have not been there and we've won, what does it mean? I love this club. I love what we've done. I'm proud of you boys. But if you don't want to go from being a good team, if we're comparing Arsenal previous years to this year, then we're up there. But if you're looking at it as cool, all right, we've rewritten what we need to rewritten, and now we're at this. We've got a base. We're not, and the league, winning a league, and them things is up there. We got to go up there, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's steady progress, and it can only happen firstly if we improve our outlook on defending. There's teams in the Prem below us. When they lose a key centre back or whatever, or left back or whatever, it's not that much of a drop off. With us, we're stressed. Why is that? Because we don't respect the art of defending, and we haven't for years. Even down to our academy, you never see defenders come through. And I love Arsenal. I'm not dissing us. No one can tell me I don't love this club. But why don't defenders come through? We ain't. If you're a winger, a cam, and that you come through, what centre backs have come through since Tony Adams and cut a career here? So it's been there historically, and specifically to this season, it's been missing. Really, when fullbacks come through, it's an accidental thing. Even Ashley Cole, boy, he weren't a left back all the time. Gibbs, when he come, Kieran Gibbs, I thought I said his name wrong. He weren't an out and out left back, you know. Maitland now was accidental. He weren't an out and out defender. He just could do the thing. Well, he's gone now, innit? But you get the point. So we need, for me, I'm keeping Xhaka and them, but I think we need to address that. You know, unfortunately, Martinelli's in a protective boot, allegedly, people as well, off topic. But until we respect the art of defending, until we get more physically improving players, it's a myth. It's a myth. As great as this season may or may not have been, yeah, why have we conceded this many goals? It's irrational. Of late, you know, or in general at home, we've conceded a lot of goals. But of late, it's terrible. There's been 21 points available from our last few games. We've only taken 9. What has evaded us? You need to go. This needs to be a season of foundation. Why have you failed at the last furlong? You know, and I'm just talking about winning games. As I said, Brighton's a good test to see where you're really at as a club, just like Newcastle away was and these things. Why have we done that? So we need to go back to the training ground. We need physically improving players. We need to start to love defending. We need to know that, you know, we need to arrest bad performances. And at our best, we can give everybody a game. The problem is you're not going to be at your best 9 times out of 10. Throughout a 38 game, not a single player, not individually, not collectively. It's about how good you are at your worst. And when we're good, we're amazing. When we're terrible, we're terrible. We need to find that medium. I can't tell you the last time this football club kept a clean sheet at the Emirates. You didn't even keep one against Chelsea, which was one-way traffic, because we don't love defending. I know I'm being harsh, but football is harsher. And I'm only saying this because I love these boys. You know, Arteta, I love you. I think you got a lot of potential. I think you've done great. I think you're excelling. I think you're the guy. But you need to arrest these individual errors, this poor game management of your own back, and obviously the teams. You need to bring in better players. You know, I've got a lot of time for Gabriel and Ramsdale. More so, Ramsdale today, I'm making this point. We might get to a point where we address every area. Ramsdale and Gabriel will be two areas we have to look at. And I love them, think they can be part of the squad, but we're too funky with defending, innit? So we have to hold our licks. We have to hold all the banter. Credit to Brighton. Did everything I wish we did. The only thing I can say is we kept Ferguson quiet. But his team won 3-0. I know what I would rather as a player, being kept quiet or winning the game. You know, at least the Chelsea boys actually got a victory over us this season as well with Colwill. So there's nothing else we could do. You just have to hold our L's, man. The most disappointing thing is competitiveness. I don't want to say I can take losing in it because nobody wants to take losing. Nobody can say they accept losing and all of these things, but it comes with sport in it. You can't win every game every season, or we'd all want that as football fans, regardless of the club you support in it. But it's competitive. If Brighton balled off the park, which they did, like City, they didn't have to be at their best, which I give them credit, and I look at my team funny. You know, if they did that, you have to just sometimes they were a better team and hold your hands up. They were amazing. But they didn't come to the Emirates and take it over our dead body. You lot rolled over. Second half capitulation. So what he said at half time between the players, I'm not talking about the managers because I feel sorry for managers in football because they're not the ones playing. What he said between the players, why do we always concede that vital moments 10 minutes into the first half? I always say it. I always look for the last 10 minutes of each half. Or the last 20. That's where it is. You look at the Liverpool game when we conceded just before half time, and then what happened? You can't cheat. You can cheat people some of the time. You can't cheat them all the time. And until we respect the art of defending, you take what you're good at this club and make it great. And we look at the areas of improvement. Because again, a lot of people said, oh, why are you not looking emotional? And that, oh, it kills me to lose. I'm not going to do this fake thing, acting mad or whatever for you lot's entertainment. It kills me to lose. But I'm not shocked by the goals that we've conceded. They've been there all year, home and away, more so at home. Why is it you wouldn't let someone come into your crib and eat all your food, mash up your yard, steal all your vital belongings? So why do we do this at the Emirates? We could have lost the same scoreline against Man United or Bournemouth. And look at the caliber of the goals we scored. I don't care about VAR. VAR should have reacted against Brentford and obviously Bournemouth. And if they're not doing their jobs, they're not doing their jobs. But if we're honest, we have not done enough in those games. So this needs to be a year of foundation. Take the great, take the good and make it great. Take the bad and improve it. And then hopefully, you know, next season will be on. You can get a trophy or whatever. Because you've let yourselves down. You let yourselves down today. You let yourselves down against Southampton, Liverpool, and West Ham. You let yourselves down Southampton away. It's crazy. As good as this season's been, didn't beat Brighton at home last year. Lucky to get a point there away last year, but cool. You know, didn't beat Brighton at home last year or this year. Failed to travel to St. Mary's, Old Trafford. You know, probably a couple of other grounds as well that historically are difficult for this football club, Goodison Park, and failed. Yes, we've gone to some Palace, Brentford, Leeds, and done what we've needed to do. We've improved a lot, and I'm proud of that. But pride's a hype. My man wants some trophies and that, and it doesn't come overnight, and it will not come until this team wants to really be a great defensive side. That's just my opinion. And some other players, there's some hard truth Arteta's got to accept. You've got to find a way of playing if Zinchenko isn't there. You know, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, that's a fucking nothing midfield to do a lot more than that. The only thing I'm really upset about is the lack of, we've cheated ourselves. The pain of discipline hurts, but it hurts a lot less than the feeling of regret. Why? Because these players will finish that game, have their shower, do their recovery sessions, whatever. They'll go home when the little kids want to play with them or their wife wants fun time. They're not going to be able to do that because the regret is on their mind. You can't go back in time. So be disciplined, and we didn't show discipline today. Terrible collective and individual performance. I'm not going to get into all of that because some of these players are going to be the best thing since sliced bread one day and the worst players in the world. Looking back, Partey probably should have played, but I understand why Xhaka, Jorginho and Odegaard and largely the team was the same. Kyrgios, I think, was okay, but we've conceded 3 goals in it, and I need to look back at that goal again, but I don't know what he was on. Like, he's messing around with his boot. If he's genuinely injured, then what do I know? But what I would say is, and it's easy for me because I can't judge a man's pain, but what I would say, again, ignorantly looking at it first time, people, with respect to Kyrgios, because you've done well this season, and I'm not comparing you on ability, but I just know if I think of some of the best centre-backs I've ever watched in the world, Cannavaro, and in fact, Premier League, Vidic, Ledley King, Sol Campbell, Kolo Toure, Tony Adams, Rio Ferdinand, Virgil van Dijk, Vincent Kompany, feel free to interject. I only seen it once, But I know if them man are in pain, they're gonna deal with any threat. Then they'll go down and touch their ankle and whatever. I didn't understand that by Kyrgios. So forgive me if Arteta shed some light on it and I watch it again and you might have had your foot trodden on and these things, then I hold my hands up. But first time it didn't look good. Maybe my eyes deceived me. And apart from that, I think you did all right, Kyrgios, and you've done all right since you've stepped in. But Arteta needs to understand that some of these players, whether they'll have to be sold or whether they'll have to be demoted into other roles, but where we need to go, they can't help us. In the same way you utilize the Bamian, Pepe and these guys for the early part of the rebuild or the FA Cup winning run like Maitland-Niles, you got rid of them. Or you stop using them, or you dislodge them, or whatever. Not everyone's going to be able to take us to where we need to go to. And you can fool some of the people. Some of the time, you can't fool people all the time, innit? So let it be, these are the days that anyone that thinks they've achieved anything at this club, anyone that thinks they're better than they are, anyone that thinks we are better than what we are, you better stop all of that. And you better get in on Monday. Accept it, hold it, is what it is. Finish the season as highly as you can. I'm upset because I wanted 90 points, man. That would have looked good for Arsenal, but let's just build on this, innit? Let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You know, I started going off on a tangent, so I don't know if I showed you lot this, but as you lot can see here, Martinelli was in a protective boot. He did kind of carry on, so maybe that's a negative or a positive. Maybe it's a precautionary boot. I don't know. So we'll have to see, really. And I don't understand why. Listen, Saka, I'm always going to play Saka. I'm always going to keep him on. I understand it, but I didn't understand why Saka wasn't hooked. I actually don't understand why Trossard weren't hooked, because he was before the mistake he's made. Listen, mistakes happen. It is what it is. But he was terrible, man. Like, he was terrible. I seen Smith Rowe play all right and be hooked. So I don't understand it really and truly. The second half, I didn't well, in fact, the last half an hour of the game, when them changes made, like, we were looking even more disjointed, really and truly. You know, Brighton looked like the home side. Brighton looked like the team that was second. And big up Brighton, because they're a good team. Sort us out with McAllister and them man there. But on a serious note, people, smash the like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. God bless you all. Hope you have great health and continue that with your loved ones. And I hope next week and the week after that is great for you lot in your personal and private lives. As I said, one love for listening to my 5 pence on today's game. Check out the rest of the vids. Turn your notifications on. Follow on Twitch. I'm out.
There's always just that active red flag defending.
I think it's like